Hello there. Welcome to YouTooSpain Live. This week we have a special report by the wonderful Chris from Upsticks, all about his 5-day road trip along the coast through Murcia, Almeria and Alicante. He's been meeting up with loads of fun people and chatting with some of you, I think. So stick around for an excellent show. Join in with the chat either live on the live chat, wherever it is, or in the comments below. You're all very welcome to YouTooSpain. Let's put that one up for a change. Let's dance. Oh yeah, right then, just before we get chatting, don't forget to sign up for free to the monthly newsletter for the website. It always comes out on the first of the month, so there's one due very soon. So yeah, sign up so you're in time for that one. That's all about YouTooSpain.com. There it is. And you have access on that website to loads of articles, resources, specialists and links. It's like this show, but written down. So some people prefer that. And you will find everything that you need for your move to Spain and for living here. You can also get a free account and advice from our friends at Smart Currency Exchange. Oh yes, they've got a really great service called Fixing a Forward Exchange Rate for you. Whether you're buying a house or moving your savings or regular pension from the UK or the US or anywhere with a different currency. They're specialists in doing that, fixing the forward rate, and also in dealing with property purchases. And they also have the loveliest people to help you. I will have Jack Wiggs back on the show very early in the new year. Use that link below to get in touch with them. It doesn't cost a penny, and it helps YouTooSpain out too. And guess what? It's a win-win-win with a cherry on top. Oh, yes, it is. So, without further ado, let's meet our excellent guest for today. It's Chris from Upsticks. Hola, Chris.
Good morning. Hola.
Hola. Welcome back from the road trip. I'm really looking forward to hearing about this. We've deliberately not talked about it, I think, before the show. We've not said very much about it to each other. So It's just going to be as fresh and exciting to me as it is for people watching. So
no, it was good. It's been I think it's a week I've been back now, and it's always busy when you get back though, isn't it? Doesn't matter how I couldn't be one of these. I couldn't work from a laptop full time. I don't know how people do it.
Yeah, the digital nomads, they're a different breed, aren't they?
Oh yeah, completely. Yeah, I think I'm probably about 10 years too old for that.
Where does that put me? Good Lord.
My computer. Where's my computer?
Yeah, I can't stay off my phone though. So I suppose I'm up with the kids. However you do it, I don't know. I don't know how these things work.
I think the fist bumps is
it
like
the fist bump?
15 years too old now.
Yeah, it's way too old. There's probably some kind of thing they do. Yeah. Yeah, we're sounding really old now, aren't we? Let's do some shout outs to who have you helped get their
so I just want to give a
visas.
shout out to Carmel, who's coming over. I know she watches the channel, and we were chatting yesterday on email, and she's got a visa. And Gavin and Gail, who got their visas here in Malaga this week. So, it's after, a bit of turbulence now with BLS. Now, I still believe that BLS is a great thing. You know, doing these offices that have changed for the future. There has been a lot of problems with the website, for example, getting booking appointments. And initially, London had a few hiccups with issuing visas and stuff. But generally, at the moment, we're seeing that they're coming through well. The appointments in Manchester still slightly, unpredictable, but as long as you've got your requirements, they're fine, it's definitely positive moving forward.
Brilliant. Let's say hello to everybody on the live chat. We have, by the way, everybody on the live chat, I'll mention this in a minute, but if you look right at the top, I've put the Christmas prize raffle link on there. So I'll mention that again in a bit. Anyway, so John Carrington, good morning. And Jay, that's Jen, isn't it? Good morning. Paul Cook, Paula Bramble, Nancy Coulson-Drain, nice name. And Bev, good morning, Bev. When are you coming for the meal? We'll keep asking this. I'm going to keep on asking until you arrive.
Still here in the drawer, though. I've still got the funds ready to go. It's still sat next to me. Come on.
Brilliant.
That's
yes.
the prize winner.
We're getting hungry. We haven't eaten since last Christmas.
No.
So,
I'm on a diet, which is
yeah. I think I put on a stone this year. That's not good. I'm going to have to just not eat until
no.
until my birthday. Anyway, Janet Stanton, morning. Robbo, who's paired. Interesting. Does that mean he's watching on your channel, or have you got your own channel there, Robbo? What does that mean? Tell me. And also, Gary is also paired. Buenos dias. Hace frío. Aye, it is cold indeed. And Andy Cooper, morning all. Ken Skilling, and that's it. Bev says 1 year later. Yes, it's been a year since the last raffle. So let's just have the quick reminder about the raffle so you know what it's all about if you're watching for the first time. Let's see, what do you need to know? Chris is going to be announcing the second charity because, as you know, we're splitting the money 50-50 between two absolutely wonderful charities. Mine is Save a Life One Dog at a Time, which marvellous people. It's a local charity here in Competa, but they're saving animals all around in the area. Brilliant. And as I say, every penny of your donations will go to the two charities, so that 100% of the money you give is going to them. We're not going to take any of it and eat it. The meal for two, the big prize, and all of the other prizes are coming from donations. Chris is doing quite a lot of it. He's got loads of goodies and everything. There's going to be goodies from our trusted partners as well, some of the people we have business networks with, and some of those will be joining us on the Christmas show on Saturday, December the 16th for the big prize draw, and also some of the wonderful guests that I've had on the show as well that are going to be here as well. I think Lucia the lawyer has said yes. So we've got to try and cram everybody in on the screen and bring them all up. They're going to have a lovely Christmas message, each of them, for you. So how do you enter? Well, somebody's already done it, actually. I just saw it flicker up on the screen. You can use the QR code, which is up here on the top left-hand corner of the screen. If you can hover your phone over that or however that works. If you're watching on your phone, then I'm not sure what you do. But if you are watching on your phone, you can go to the live chat where I've put a link. You can go to the video description, and also once this video is finished, and if you're watching back afterwards, what I'm going to do is put the very first comment. I'm going to pin the raffle address link, so you'll be able to find it in lots and lots of different places. It's called It's a Win-Win-Win. So get your entries in now. Buy as many as you want for €5 each. You'll find when you go to it's the buymeacoffee.com website, but it's a specific page just for this raffle, just for the raffle entries, and you can get one entry or as many as you want. You can put in a custom number. It says 13510 or something like that. Make sure you put your name on there. I noticed somebody bought one about half an hour ago and they didn't put their name on. Obviously, if you just want to enter and donate, that's fine. But if you've not got your name on there and your contact details, then you won't get the prizes. So, which is fine. Some people just want to donate, and that is absolutely lovely. That is, after all, the point of it. If you're watching this video after December the 16th, then your entry won't count. But of course, you can still donate a coffee to YouTooSpain using the same link. It'll just go into keeping this channel going. So, right. So then, Chris.
How much are you got a total yet? Do we know where we are?
Well, tell you what, I'm going to have a look now. Let's get that up on screen.
I think we got to 200 last year. We split 100 per charity, didn't we? I think, or did we?
We did.
We rounded it up, didn't we? I think.
Yeah. I topped it up with a bit extra just to round it up there. Where are we going? Let's just put buy in there. It'll take me right to it. Log in. Yes, I have to log in. And here we go. €90 so far. We're not doing too bad. There we go. We're not even in December yet.
Brilliant.
There we go. And it was Ken Skilling that bought tickets. Thank you so much, Ken. And the one before that, 40 minutes ago, was someone. So although they've left their email address, so that is fine. I suppose you have to put an email address to sign in. There you go. Right, let's just close that off. so it's not taking up the stream. And oh, right, it's time for the big announcement. Chris, what is your chosen charity? Let's have a drum roll. Boom, crash.
So I'm going to be donating my half to Los Angeles de la Noche, which is a homeless charity here in Malaga. They're very active this time of year, obviously, because it's getting colder, and they do help homeless people and people who basically need a bit of an extra help in Malaga. They deal predominantly with people in Malaga capital, where, believe it or not, it is a big problem, and they've been around for years. It's a very good charity, but obviously they need all the support they can get this time of year. So that's where my half will be going.
Excellent. That's a really good charity. Jen says if it's going to the dogs, then I'm in. Well, yes, exactly. 50% of it will be homeless dogs and homeless people. Both very, very good things to support. There we go. Bengal Bert says hello to you. Right then, on with the show. So the road trip. What was the idea of the road trip, Chris? Did you just fancy a little trip along the coast or a holiday, or was there some kind of purpose to it?
I'd had enough in the office, and I just joking. It's been planned for a while. So I mean, it all started the first. How long you got? So when obviously post Brexit, and we focused on non-lucrative visa, we went from dealing just with residencies in Malaga mainly, and that went national to the hotspots, what we're going to talk about today. So the first road trip I did was through, not last year before, which basically left the groundwork for our service specialists, basically our appointment specialists, because I've got a bit of an obsession with somebody being with all of our clients at the appointments. Once they've got their visa and they come, that's quite a daunting experience. So whether it be Alicante, Valencia, Murcia, all the way down to Cadiz, we need someone there with, and lots of the viewers and people who are coming will have experienced it. So we did that a couple of years ago. Off the back of that, we did a place in the sun last year. And then this year it was time to get back out. It's worked really well. So we've got Victoria up in Alicante, in Valencia, we've got Costas, obviously here we've got Tom, and we're just basically strengthening our network so we can always make sure that everybody goes, they've got the support network. So that was the main goal of the road trip, was to get back out and meet all the people we actually work with again, because we're always online, and I believe that face-to-face is something that's very important to do. But also is I wanted to visit the places where people are going, because obviously up to 2 years ago we knew people going to like Torrevieja and main places in Murcia and stuff, but there's so many villages and these places which crop up, which I've never actually been to, and the town halls and actually seen the places that I was like, because we'd already got the content we needed from the Foreigners Office, I said, I can actually spend my time going around the town halls and actually seeing these towns where people are moving to. So when someone says to me, I want a non-lucrative visa, I'm moving to Arboledas, for example, I can go, I know the town square. So, it mentally prepares you for those kind of conversations as well.
Yeah, that must be really good for your clients, definitely. And
for us, so it helps us to understand, people are essentially, we're there just to, to assist people to get the visas, but we want to be more.
Good. We all like to be more. That's excellent. So I'm just going to say hello to Terry Gibson. He says, I'll just put this on the screen so everybody can see it. Hola, Skatz and Chris. Residency appointment on Monday. Yay! That's very exciting. Big thanks to Chris and the team for sorting out Padron and residency. Big thanks to you too, Skatz, for great videos and great info. Lovely, lovely. And am I allowed to say you didn't put it was Terry who bought the raffle tickets without putting his name on. I'm going to say anyway, but thank you. Whether you want your name published on screen, I've said it now, so there you go. I hope you don't mind. Thank you so much for your entries, and I think it's not the first one you bought either. So there we go. Morning also to Alicante, and I can never remember your actual name. You keep telling me, but sorry, I've forgotten again. I'll just keep calling you Ali. There we go.
Yeah, I've got to thank Terry actually, because he supported Lara's books. He's very, very eagle-eyed, Terry. Very eagle-eyed there, because in one of my videos he was watching. He noticed that there was behind me, I've got some frames of the artwork from the books. He said, what's that? And I was like, oh, that's actually artwork from Lara's, my wife's books. And he was like, really? And I sent him the link and just said, look, this is what she writes. And he's bought them. So thank you very much, Terry. It made Lara very, very excited, I have to say.
Absolutely. So she should be. Everybody buy the book.
Yeah.
There we go.
There
Good plug.
Sorry, I plugged my wife's books. Yeah, it's just.
Yeah. Get in touch. How do you get one? Just get in touch with Upsticks.
Amazon. So she's actually got. She's on her 4th now. So she's got the Olive Tower, which is a novel, and now she's writing a children's series and called The Attic Kids, and she's got 2 published, and there's 3 to come, and she's going to have the third one ready for Christmas.
Brilliant.
There you go.
Alicante says it's Devon Dave from Durham, UK. Yeah, I know where Durham is. I was born in Concert. There you go. Are you actually in the city, or are you somewhere outside? My mum lives in Crooke. It's just up the road from there. There you go. I've written it down now. I'm going to pin it to the screen so I know for next time. I'll put Alicante. Otherwise I won't remember exactly what it was. There you go. So some of these places that you've been to, it's not just the cities, the Alicante, Almeria, Murcia. There's all of those places in between, aren't there? So take us through some of those places and give us some descriptions of each so that we can get a flavour of them.
Yeah, so day one I did. Well, it was basically day one was it was a long day actually. I did Marbella to Matheron because we had to pass in the morning. We had to pass. I put a video on my channel actually with it. We've got a new car for Upsticks Drive. We're going to have it all sign written, but we've imported it because you can't be promoting imported cars on a normal car. Okay, it's got to be an imported car.
Yeah.
And by thanks to my father-in-law who actually donated the vehicle, so
lovely.
So I'll give him a shout out because it's a fantastic car. Apart from now it's for Lara and I've stolen it. So I drove from there and we went to Matheron to start with because my idea was we've got a lot of people moving to the Matheron area. Places like Camposol, Condado de Lama and the Country Club, that area. And I'd never actually seen these places. So the first thing I needed to do was actually work out where they needed to sign on the Padron. Mm-hmm. So I stayed in Matheron, Puerto de Matheron, the Matheron port, on the first evening. And I mean, I think that's the Costa Calida, is it? That's the Costa Calida. Mm-hmm. And wow, what an amazing place. It's just like, Matheron is somewhere where I only really started to hear about it since Brexit, I suppose, because we're Malaga based. Mm-hmm. But it became really popular, and even on the road trip video I did, there was a lot of people gave me lots of hints and tips, after publishing the video. No, this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to see. And it's the port is amazing, I have to say. Well, there's 2. There's the old port, and then you've got the sports port, as they call it.
No.
And there, from there, I visited the town hall, which was very nice. Again, pretty easy to get a Padron. They're strict with the requirements, but most town halls are. But very, very amenable. And then I went up to Camposol. I met up with Sean from the other YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And, that's an experience in itself. I'm sure we've got people who are moving to Camposol here who can tell us, but I've never seen anything like it in my life, and it's purpose built. When you're driving towards Camposol, you can just see this huge town. So when I thought it was going to be like a small urbanization, mm-hmm. but it's not. It's a town. It is. It's not. I don't think it's not. Sean was saying it's not classed as its own town, but it should be. It should. I think we need to find a mayor there and have a word with Matheron. It's absolutely.
And they're all kind of numbered in sections, aren't they? I think Sean's in Camposol 2.
Yeah, sectores. I think Sean's in sector 1.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Or sector A. Sorry, sector. No, get it right. So sector A, sector B, sector C, sector D.
Okay.
And it's all sectors. So I think originally the place was built by a company called Massa, who promoted it. And what's happened is, of course, the promoters build the properties, sell them to people, and then 20 years later, they get resold. Then so, it really looks like it's in the middle of a desert. When you enter it, the community there, you can really. I don't think there's anything like that in Malaga. That big to that extent. There is communities, but not actually sort of like it's like a town. It's huge, and each sector, the main sector, Sector B, has this huge shopping complex right in the middle. Yeah, and it's all the estate agents and basically every single thing that you need there, not to actually leave it if you don't want to.
Mm. I've seen Sean's videos. He's expat in Matterhorn, by the way. I should give him a plug. We've both been on his show, and he's been on both of ours. So, yeah, and I've seen him walking around though, with his video chatting away, and all the shops seem to have signs in English.
Yeah, no, it's very. I mean, it's predominantly English. No, I will say English. It's foreign. Now, what Sean gave me, I mean, he took the whole afternoon out to show me around. So I have to thank him for that. Sean's like a rock star in Campbell, really.
He is, yeah. That's his sign.
He really is, and he's doing. I mean, he's the one thing about him. We have to give him for the area, because sometimes it's had quite a bad name, Campbell before. You have people go live there, but it's not like what people make out. There is a real sense of community there.
Yeah.
There are Spanish people working there. They don't think they particularly live there.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it is predominantly most of it is focused on foreign people who speak English,
mm-hmm.
mainly Brits. I mean, I had the best English breakfast there when I got there. It was great. And I met with Kev, who watches the channel as well.
The Argonaut, yes, that will be him.
The Argonaut. So we met in person. That was great. It's got a huge golf course, and I mean, in terms of depending on your budget, because obviously places like the area, like the Costa del Sol, have priced people out. Have been able to get things like non-lucrative visas because of the price of the property. And there, I was quite shocked. I understood that you can get for less than 200k, you can get one of these villas with a pool in an urbanisation which is very well serviced for less than 200,000 euros. So, you can see why people go.
Yeah, absolutely. I did a video with when I had Sean on the show, and it was titled "Why is it becoming so popular with Brits?" And that's obviously the reason. It's that it's cheap. It's got all of the services around it that you need, and that's it.
Yeah. No, it's great. And what you've got on the doorstep is Matterhorn. So if you do want to go down to a port, and go and see some Spanish, the Matterhorn town itself is very Spanish, and it's a great place to have a wander around. I had a brief wander around in the morning, so I didn't really get the feeling for what it'd be like in the afternoon. I'd imagine that it seems to be a very typical working town. So you have got that on your doorstep, just 10 minutes away. And also got a very, very nice ITV station where I spoke, because we're going to be hopefully expanding into registering the vehicles up there as well. And for our clients who come over, the whole trick was to bolster the support network. So we've got, for example, now a drop-off point there for documents. So a lot of people struggle with scans, so they just go drop off and send them to us. And the ITV station there, brand new, and the people were so nice. I was like, oh, I would never get this attention in Malaga because they're always so busy. So
yeah.
I walked in, I was like, can I speak to the technician about registering vehicles? And he was like, why, what car do you want to register? I was like, well, it's just in general, really, to be honest, because we need to know how you work and stuff like that. And he went, I'll just come and have a chat. I was like, really? Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
So it was half an hour later, we got all the content we needed and we're ready to go. So that was great as well.
So let's just put in there. Bev was saying, is there public transport in Campbell? Nancy was saying there are buses from Sector A to the port. It does sound like the sort of place where the facilities are available. So yes, if there's transport there, can you get from Sector B, C and D? Can you get all the way around to the port? Presumably Nancy lives in Sector A, so knows about that one. Let's have other people telling us whether you can get around all of the other ones as well. Yeah, Bev doesn't drive, so public transport is important. Actually, let's get David's question up. He's saying he's got a video chat booked with you in December. Chris, just wondering whether they should actually start the ball rolling or wait for Chris. He's already put the house on the market in the UK, presumably, that is.
That'll be the... when's that, the 30th? I'll have... if you need me to bring it forward, we can have a chat earlier. I'll have a look. I can have a look now.
Yeah, there you go. While he's online.
There we go. 3:30 on the 13th, 2:30 your time. So yeah, tell you what, drop me an email. Is it Janet as well with Dave? And if you need me to bring it forward, then I can.
Brilliant. What's the email? It's not the. I keep saying info@upsticks.es, but is it office?
Support@upsticks.es, or you can drop me directly at chris@upsticks.es.
There we go.
Yeah.
Great service. And
yeah, we are booking calls now for January. There's some people we do try and get everybody spoken to. Our general website has been booked now for January, just to give us a little bit of time. There's a lot of development we need to do before Christmas, but evidently we'll try our best to speak to everybody.
Excellent. Like Jen says, let's help get these useful videos out there by feeding the algorithm, spanking the like button. I like that. If you get the word spanking into a video, then without it being how you normally read it, then that's fine by me. And Nancy is saying no bus services from sector to sector except Campo Bus. Oh, so there is like a small bus service, and Campo Bus is bookable, she says. That is brilliant. What does she say? 30. Nancy's been living in Campbell for 30 months. Sector A or B if you don't drive. There you go. That's handy for you, isn't it, Bev? And Paula Bramble says we're hoping to move to Sector D, and they've got a call with you next week. We use e-scooters to get around Campasol. Yeah, that's a good idea, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about this and talking about it, and I did a little video series on my channel as well, was, I'm sort of scooting over the edge of everything and getting into my head where people are moving to, so I can talk to them about it when we're on the calls. But the response, like now, we're getting on this live chat, and I got my video with all the advice, and people actually going, well, actually, you need to do this. I got 3 emails which were like, this is what you need to be telling people, Chris. I'm like, that's awesome. That's like intel. You couldn't get that by Googling. This is real people living there and telling you, through experience.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here's a little. Here we go. Don't call yourself expats, Marfi said, because it's just ridiculous. You're British immigrants. Obviously, Marfi, you haven't seen my videos enough. I have a video called Are you an expat or an immigrant? You're all immigrants, I shout in the title of the video, and then I go on to argue the whole thing throughout that video. Also, the last 2 videos that I've done on Wednesdays, I've talked about that as well and made it very clear, yes, we're all immigrants. But the reason I put it on the title of these videos and keep saying it is like Paula has said earlier, we've got to feed the algorithm. There is no way that people in Britain search for the word immigrant unless they're talking about, how many people are moving into Britain, because it's just not there. They call themselves expats, and it's unfortunate. I don't agree with it either. I think we should all call ourselves immigrants. So there's my soapbox for the day, and thank you for pointing it out, Marfi. But yeah, very often I see exactly the same comment that you've put there on a lot of the videos. So I just say to people, watch this video and give them a link to the one where I tell everybody about it. Yeah, thank you very much. Bev says, I'm not British. Very much. I tell people I'm Irish when people do that anyway. So, Kev the Argonauts here with us. He's busy at work, but we've got the wedding booked now. Oh yes, you were getting that sorted. Excellent. Bev says, many congratulations, Kev. Yes, hope it all goes well. Best wishes for that. So, you were talking us through the places you visited, and we got sidelines.
Yeah, so that was good. So Campus SARS again. I mean, it's a great community there. I'm sure that everybody I've spoken to actually loves living there. So that's definitely somewhere where it was shocking to see for me. I was like, I've got to take photos of it, because I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
But it was really, pleasant surprise when I got in, and everybody very chatty. I have to say, it would be definitely for people moving over who are looking. Maybe people who aren't as comfortable in like throwing themselves right into the Spanish life, into a town. straight away would be good there, because you've got a support network, but there's the Spanish side of things there if you want it, by going down to Matheron. So yeah. Then I went on to, I've got my little list here as well.
Yeah, good.
There's a couple here called Condado de Lama and Matheron Country Club. Now, these are gated communities. Now, the Condado de Lama, again, is huge. It's never, when you go into it, and Sean's like, I've got to show you this. Have you got time? I'm like, yeah, if you say you've got to see it, you've got to see it. Apparently, there was going to be a theme park there or something. So this whole massive complex is surrounded by these huge car parks, believe it or not. And when you drive in, you have to go for this. It's private security, so it is gated. And they threw me off a bit because I drove in, and he went, "Why are you here?" And I was like, "I just want to have a look." All right, go on. And you go to this like shopping complex. It looks like something out of Jurassic Park. Big gates. It's like, but again, I'd say that I don't know. I didn't see it enough to say whether it'd be, full-time living area. I'd say there'd be a lot more probably people who've got holiday apartments in that sort of area. So that Campusol would be more for people who are living full-time. It was a lot more modern. But again, a golf course inside, 80-hole golf course inside of this gated community. Middle of nowhere. And there's another one that doesn't have a golf course called Matheron Country Club, which as well I visited, and that was very, I'd say that'd be quite expensive to live there because the mansions were quite big there. So, but that's very close to Matheron. So if you want to spend a little bit more money being a gated, secure community, but next to Matheron, you need to look there.
As somebody's saying, one downside with Campusol is that there are very few flat plots. Every villa seems to have been built with multiple steps. Arboledas, in contrast, all seem to be flat. It's important if you're getting older. Good point.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. Again, what we're seeing, and part of this road trip was that the first couple of years after Brexit, especially after coming out of the pandemic, people just focused on getting here. And now we're seeing that clients are a lot more conscientious about where they're going. They're contacting us a lot earlier. I mean, we're speaking now to people who are coming in 2025, and they're doing their research and they're watching shows like this and considering areas and yeah, things like age is something that unfortunately comes to us all, and you have to consider. If you're planning to retire, you might be in your mid 50s or early 60s, but what's it going to be like if you don't want to leave and you're in your 80s there? So.
Bev says she's got dodgy knees. Thanks for that, Bev. So that's good to know. Yes, good for you.
And I mean, part of that consideration as well, I dropped into a couple of estate agents there in Campusol, one called Mercer's, which I have to give a shout out because they always recommend us. And I was just asking about what's the resale like, because obviously it might be okay for 10 years for somebody, but then they might find they need to move somewhere else after that, and you're left with this asset, which is a property. We know Spain can be quite hard to sell at times, and they were like, no, the resale is actually good because they're not building any more houses, so it is a viable investment, where sometimes you get to smaller towns, you might buy somewhere and struggle to sell. So.
Great stuff. So where else then?
So from there, I did the Murcia thing, and that was great. So very, 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 very pleased that I got to see that and get that in my head. And then I went up to Alicante, actually, and I went to meet Victoria, does her appointments up there at the main police office. I caught up with Costas as well, who's our guy in Valencia, and happy to say that we've already been working quite closely, but I think we're going to expand that working relationship as well. So we'll be able to cover up there, and it's got a great energy. It was brilliant. We actually got to, we've always been working, so actually got together, stayed in the same hotel, and we had beers and kebab, believe it or not, that time.
Very nice.
Chatted and just it was nice to just let our hair down, actually have a chat, and he's got a passion for extranjeria, the foreigners like I have, especially the platforms that we work on and are lucrative in EU. So it was, if you were to listen to the chat from the outside, it would probably be the most boring thing you'd ever heard, but we were excited. And then I went to meet some of our clients. I didn't tell them I was dropping in, so that was nice. So we had 7 visa registration appointments. Some of our clients who were on renewals as well, I'd never met from the first time, so that was nice. And I got the experience inside the office whereas I'd only ever been outside it. But because we're Victoria, who's very well known there, we managed to get in, all of us, and got some great content around that area of where to park and stuff. And from there, I then went down to a place called Guadalmar Segura, which it's not somewhere that we've come across only in the last year, and it seems to be more of a popular area. Now, this is a coastal town, and talking about people who might have, this is on the Costa Blanca, so it's probably the closest, most popular town west of Alicante as you're driving down that main road. And it's a coastal town, but people with limited mobility issues, I think it would actually be, definitely for people maybe who are moving over who are single, yes, or maybe the NLV, sadly, we do get people who are widowed. If they're looking for a coastal town, the budget, the properties seem very cheap. I was looking at a couple of apartments there, 120 grand for a 2-bedroom apartment, 300 meters from the beach and stuff like that.
Very nice. So you're near to all the facilities.
Very central. There were a shocking amount of Chinese restaurants. One I did eat in, I would say. But when I went out in the morning, and it was cheap, €12 menu and $1.50 a beer, so that was good. And when I went out in the morning to find the town hall, Google just sent me off in a completely wrong direction. I parked just way off somewhere. And I was like, just have a walk and just ask people. But it turns out like the town hall, the library, the medical centre and the bus station are all within a 5-minute walk from each other.
Perfect.
And the bus station is very handy to get to Alicante. And I saw a lot of Alsa buses there. There was one that was marked that was coming this way to Malaga. So for somebody with limited mobility, that would be a good area, or someone who maybe doesn't want to be in a really, really, really busy place in Alicante, but wants access to it and wants to be on the coast. It's a great town.
Fabulous. Kev says he's been watching the resale market on Campbell for a few years now. Duff villas stick, so they stay the same price. Good ones sell very quickly. Some have been on 2 years, and on viewing I can see why. Others sell very well. There you go. So that's all very healthy. I've been having discussions with people underneath the last few videos, because some people are saying, no, the Brits are moving out in droves. They're not coming here anymore, but that's just not true. And the market, the property market, is really, really healthy, according to the estate agents. And as Rufus Reloaded says just above there, if an estate agent said it, it must be true. I think he might be being a bit sarcastic there, but it's true when it comes to the property market. They're all saying it. There doesn't seem to have been a slowdown. There was a slowdown during the lockdown because you couldn't buy properties. You couldn't come over here and watch them. But since then, it's the same with the amount of money coming from tourism. It's gone back up to the 17 point something billion euros worth of tourist money is coming from the Brits. So that's per year.
Yes, but I understand Rufus' comment there, because you don't believe everything you hear from estate agents. But when you see an estate agency that's been there for 25 years with 4 or 5 desks, a big high street presence, and you generally think, well, something must be happening.
Yeah,
must be right. Something must be moving. And there was plenty of for sale and sold signs as you go around. Again, it's something slightly strange because we don't really see like the big poles with for sale, do we? Around here. Obviously on campus, you see that. But maybe
I wonder why that is.
It's an article about it. If it's been looking for 2 years, that'd be good.
Yeah, brilliant.
Okay.
It'd be good to see.
Yeah.
So where did you go next?
So after that, I stayed in Guadalmar Segura that evening. That was great. But then I then headed to an area which is becoming increasingly popular. We're seeing more because we're doing. See, this happens with on stage 2, where Jane, my colleague, manages, and she helps people get all the padron certificates. Yeah, so a lot of the time remotely, she's been in contact with town halls and stuff like that. And there's this area inland from. So we was always to see Torrevieja and Orihuela, for example. Yeah, that would be the 2 areas that you'd see. But inland, there's towns which are called, and I've got Rojales, Benijofar, Algorfa, and Bigastro, right? And if you were to look at like if this was Torrevieja, this would be like the bit round the back, really. And there's a main road which sort of runs through them all. You have to dive off and stuff. And I was like, what on earth's out there? You know, why are people moving to these towns? Because you see these you're looking at the population of the towns. And so I was like, right, I've got to go and visit them. So the first one I went to was Rojales, which is, they're fantastic, like inland Alicante, is that even a word? I don't know. Style towns, is that not a word? I don't know.
It is now.
It is now. Let's get put that,
Alicantians.
Alicante style, like they're completely different to what we see here in Andalusia, villages. You know, and when you go through them, so I visit Rojales first, the town hall. Very, very nice people, great. Well, all of them were. Benijofa were very strict, I have to say. They made me wait before going to the desk, but there was nobody in front of me. So it's not good. Just like, you can come now. Okay. Just do as you're told. But they were very, very helpful in all four of these town halls. Gave us all the information we needed. I mean, a lot of it's online, forms that can download, but there's nuances in each one. And, there seem to be in these small towns, there's a slightly more of a harmony like you would see in Compita, for example. There's a lot of Spanish there, right? But there is a lot of Brits. You can see Brits on the street, where there's Brits queuing to, especially Rojales, to get to register on the Padron. You know, the amount of people waiting in the town hall was definitely 50-50. I think it was Benijofa, where I drove through this town thinking, oh, this is a lovely Spanish town. It's a high street. You can park on the high street. The town hall was like in a square. And the moment I jumped out the car, I looked and you had the Yorkshire Pud. Like this, it was like completely out of place. And I was like, okay, so there must be a big community here, you know. So, and it was great to see in those towns the sort of synergy, as I said, you see in Compita between, expats, immigrants and Spanish living together, really. Completely different demographic to what you'd see in Matarrón. So
that's interesting. Bev says she's going to check out Torrevieja and the environs. I love that word, environs, the surrounding area. And Deb and Dave say, any idea what Elche is like? Whereabouts is that, near Alicante?
Yeah, I went to Elche actually there, but that was 2 years ago. I went to the police station there and I had a drive. The Elche town is beautiful. It's great. Now, I don't know if you're looking on the outskirts of Elche, because I know there's quite a lot of campo land out there and people are looking for houses slightly out. In the middle of Elche, I understand it's actually quite expensive now to get an apartment there or something, because it's a very popular town, a big town, and very working. But it's a very functional inland town, which means it's a working town and lots of Spanish. Obviously, doesn't have, I don't think, a big foreign community in the town itself, but I know outside there's a lot of people do. Very much like Vera in Almeria, right in the centre, you don't get a lot of foreigners, I don't think, but on the outside there's lots that live and duck into it. But yeah, Elche is a nice town. Yeah, I enjoyed my time there a couple of years ago.
Good. So, I think one of the best bits of advice I got from anyone, and I understood it when I got here, is that you need to go and check them out yourself. And it's not until you actually get there. It's all about how it feels when you get there, and you can't quite get that feeling from watching a place in the sun or even just watching this channel. You've just got to be there and talk to the locals and talk to the expat immigrants, and so yeah,
absolutely. Always discovery trips is best if you're looking at maybe discovery trip criteria. If you actually have no clue where you want to go, what you want to do, but you've got a budget, then you would want to you're going to try maybe 3 criteria. So I had this conversation with someone the other day, had no clue. So we'll try coast to start with, and try inland, which would be one of these towns. It could be in the respective province, and then try like purpose-built urbanization. So you might find that, like we're just talking about, you have the sort of the coastal towns, you have the towns which seem to have a foreign population, but everybody's pretty intermingled and integrated. And then you have the purpose-built urbanizations like Campbell, which is different to the smaller towns. So, and I don't think until you go there, you'd never really get a feel. It's like,
And do you have mountains up there? Do you have? You don't have anything like Compita because it's not quite as steep. It's a bit flatter and more desert around there.
Yeah, it was. So it was obviously Matharon. Going back to there, they do have mountains at the back. So you are, and I believe you are above sea level with Matharon, but you don't. Nobody's going up like we do here in Malaga to a lot of the towns. And in Rojal, you'd have to go a lot further inland to get to the mountainous towns. Rojales, Benejofan, Algorfa, albeit they're above sea level. You don't really notice when you're driving from Guatemala to Ceuta that you're going into a town. The roads are very, very. Some of them reminded me very much of South America. Quite wide.
Oh yeah.
You get to the towns, but and one thing I did notice was like there was in some of it you're driving through like orange groves, but then you'd have olives, and like over here. This end in Andalusia, it's like olives are there and oranges are there. Because they're all adapted to their environment. But there seems to be a bigger mix. So I'm not too sure how the climate differs there to here. But that's something I found.
I know Murcia's got its own kind of microclimate, and the Costa Tropical as well, which is this side of Murcia, below Granada. So, don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's that as well. Going back to where you're choosing to live, it's like the climate, isn't it? There's something to look at as well, what it is like in winter.
Yeah, if you want greenery, then Costa Tropical is the place to go. If you want the south, obviously. If you want more greenery, then you go up north. But if you want the ability to get out into the desert, then you want to be north of Alicante, don't you, really? Yeah. No, I mean Almeria.
Almeria, North Almeria. It's the North Almeria is the desert areas. To say it was. So that was it. So that was big. I mentioned Big Astra, didn't I? Yeah. So that was the 4 towns that I visited there in that area. That's becoming increasingly a hotspot. But the only thing about that was I did go and visit one of our collaborators there, and they said that the high prices of houses, and they weren't estate agents. Was going up a lot. Now I looked in the windows of some estate agents, and because I'm coming from Malaga, everything seemed reasonable, I suppose. Which is also ignorance on my behalf, because people when they're coming from the UK might come over and go, "Oh, wow, that's cheap," but actually, until you've done your discovery trip and met and seen 20 properties, you realise that it's expensive. So for me, coming from Malaga, going there, I'm looking in the windows thinking, blimey, that's cheap. But probably I was wrong because, it could have been inflated prices because I don't know the area.
Yeah, good point. We're going to do, I think, a programme all about Malaga area in the future because that's a whole different ball game, and anything from the city to all of the towns and east and west of Malaga, both completely different as well. So
yeah,
that'll be good. We'll have to do a research trip up through the mountains. That'll be lovely.
I want to come back up to Compita and meet you. That's what I want to do.
All right then, we'll do that.
Wine that I bought last time.
Oh yeah, that shop is amazing.
It is incredible. Yeah, they shouldn't have let me in there.
I did warn you at the door. I said,
You sure you want to go in? Are you sure you want to go in? I'm like, yeah, we're going in. So who can carry another 6 bottles in? Ralph?
Yeah, you should have parked a bit closer. There was a bit of a walk back, wasn't it?
Yeah, fantastic to find that kind of place, and reasonable as well. This is things like, that's the question then I was going to ask you. Because you looked at Loja, which was inland Granada.
Yeah.
You settled on Compita. I know you did a lot of touring around. And why was it Compita then? What was?
Well, we drew the circle from Malaga. We needed it to be within an hour of Malaga Airport, really. We didn't look anywhere west of Malaga because it was too expensive. Yeah. So we knew it was going to be either east of Malaga or north on that road which goes up and curves round past Loja into Granada. And Granada was too far, although we actually loved the idea of Granada, which is why we kind of centred ourselves there, and because Steve and Mandy were kind enough to look after us and give us a place to a base so that we could look from there. But we just ended up, we liked Malaga so much, we just kept on going down the road. And we started off at some of the places in, what's the big, massive town beginning with an A, north of Malaga, on the road up. It's off the road, it's not actually on the main road.
Not Ardales, is it? No, that's this end.
No, bigger than that.
Antequera, sorry.
Antequera, yes, yeah. And that was it just wasn't right in what we were looking for. And I think we had this idea in our heads of a white village in the mountains, but we wanted somewhere which had enough population, enough of an immigrant population as well, so that we could start our businesses off with, especially for Liz, who was going to be doing massages. She needed English speaking, to start off with. So we needed, and there aren't that many beautiful looking white villages with the right kind of population in that area. Really, there's a lot with the population, but they don't look like the white villages. So there's all of the what's the name of the place that Rochelle lives in?
It's called.
Is it Newtown? Is that the first?
Villanueva de Trabuco.
Yeah, all of the Villanuevas. There's a few of them in that area. So we thought, yeah, we'll have a look at those. But they just didn't feel right, and they weren't perched up in the hills. We thought they're a perfect area. So, the first thing we were looking at was that geographically, is it in the right place? But then we were doing it with our hearts as well as our heads. So we wanted somewhere that felt right. And the first ones we tried, we looked at the coastal towns as well, of the the Torrox and places like that, and Torre del Mar. But then we thought, let's look at these white villages, and we went to Sayalonga first, which is on the road up to Compton. And we thought, oh, this is more like it. And we had a meal in the square, and then we thought, well, while we're here, we've heard of Compito, we've seen it on the telly, let's just drive up the hill. And we coped with the mountain road, and just as soon as we came round the corner, it just said yes to us,
Yeah, no, it's an amazing place.
Absolutely, yeah, and also as soon as you talk to people there, it became clear that there was loads of artistic people and creative people, and there was loads of music there, so I could do gigs and things like that as well. So it just all of these boxes started to be ticked really quickly. So yeah, tick all your boxes. If you've watched Place in the Sun, you'll know about ticking boxes. And it's light and airy as well.
and this side of the mountain, so you've got the sea views as well. So try to find something. It sounds really crazy, but being quite a phobic person, I like to look out the window and see something.
Yeah, you're lifted up as well. You're not actually in Malaga. You're kind of behind in Alarin. So yeah, you get to look at the sea. And where, if you're high enough up like we are, we're nearly 700 meters up, it means you can see Africa on a clear day.
Wow.
And this time of year, you get that a lot, because during the summer you can't see it because the sea heats up and you get sea mist. So you can't see it really, except on the very odd day. But as soon as you come into sort of November, middle of November time, and you get a cold clear day or a cold clear night, and then it's when it comes to sunset, really, that's when it happens, and you get the sun going down, and then suddenly Africa rises up out of the sea, and it's just spellbinding.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing. That's again what you're saying there about one thing is very important point to raise, is if you're looking at townhouses in these old places, is look where the water runs, because you might we see the horrific when we have these like flash sort of rains and these flash floods in the Malaga towns and up in Alicante. We've seen it this year, where some of these there's not a problem. Actually, they're quite well equipped, so it's not a problem as long as it's one of the places which will be, what they call them, where the water runs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where the water, if it does rain hard, your street's going to turn into a river. So I'm not saying don't buy it, but just and no one's going to tell you that. But if you see, one of the good clues that happens is if you look at the side of the doors on townhouses, if they've got two like small slits, which is what they use to put the wood in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when the water comes down, you see it's going to rain heavy. You see people then put wood in.
Yeah.
Doesn't get into the house.
There's lots in Compter, yeah. And they've got just a piece of wood that they lean against the door like that. It stops the water splashing up and going completely through the door. But yeah, it's but they built them. They're Moorish towns. Originally, Compter was a Roman town, and they were quite good at immigration as well. But the Moors, I think, made the streets all slightly curved, so that the water runs down the middle like a river. And you've just got to make sure that your house isn't at the bottom of facing one of those streets, because you'll get water coming through. But there aren't many, so they normally just put a wall there, and you have your door around the corner so that the water just curves around. But yeah, it's all been well thought of.
No, it's it is. It's like I said, there's so much to consider, isn't there, when they're buying in the different areas. It's going discovery trip, really. But making notes. Maybe we need to do a discovery trip checklist. That'd be a good thing to have, wouldn't it? Yes,
absolutely. Let's do that for another show.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we haven't had the little halfway point yet, and it's like we're coming up to the hour. So let's do that very quickly before we
go and get another coffee then, shall we?
Yeah, good idea. So, everybody, we're going to have a little message from me and my alter egos and Doogie Dog about the wonderful things available to you at YouTooSpain. So, here we go. We'll see you in a couple of minutes. This show is very helpful to you, isn't it? And you're enjoying it too. Then click on the thumbs up, you lazy colonel. I don't have any thumbs. You can use your nose, Doogie. And don't forget to subscribe as well. And rub on the bell for notifications while you're there. It's all free. Information is valuable. I need a coffee to keep my pecker up. So why not show your appreciation by buying us a coffee or 3? There's a link in the video description below. No! Use the QR code. I own the company, you know. No, you don't, Colonel. It's there for the whole show, sweetie. Just point your camera phone at it. But wait! If you think all the help and information and entertainment you get here is worth more than just a few coffees, you can support YouTooSpain with a regular monthly amount. You're not getting my money! You don't have any, Colonel. You live in a hostel. There's a link to Patreon, where you can find out what extra groovy movies you get by helping out. Oh, I'm all a quiver. One more thing. Get on with it. There's a guest waiting. Goodness knows why. The beautiful watchers are waiting too. And the ugly ones. That's enough, Colonel. There are lots of vital things that YouTooSpain gets you access to. And discounts too. What things, Master? I like things. Well, do you need private healthcare insurance? Of course I do. This gout won't go away on its own, you know. Do you need a visa or residency, sweetie? Do you need to exchange currency? What about finding a property like mine? It's huge and expensive. Just like me, darling. Bah! Or do you need advice on tax and pensions? I don't know what they are. Or do you want a Spanish mortgage? Or a discount on getting documents translated and apostilled? Or a lawyer to sort you out? I didn't do it, wasn't me. Do you need a lovely little app for learning Spanish? How about finding the best mobile phone provider? Buy a YouTooSpain t-shirt. It's a win-win-win. You can even get discounts on full mouth dental treatment and get a new smile just like Skatz. Smile! All of the links are here, down below, sweetie. If you can't find them, ask me in the comments. Are you finished yet? I need to go and kick some servants. He's not a very nice human. No, he's not. But let's get back to the show, shall we? Back to Skatz in the studio. That was my line. Oh, stop being beastly and be a good little boy. I am a good boy. You are, Doogie. Back to you, Skatz. I am a good boy. Thanks very much to all of you, my alter egos, Walter, Dick, Colonel and Doogie Dog.
How long does it take to put that together?
That one, about a day. Sometimes it's the writing that takes the time, because it's easy if it's just writing for yourself and you're talking and talking. But when you have to write for all these characters who've all got slightly different personalities, you have to think about each of them as a, you know, what they would say and then what this one would say to that. And so you've got to think about, you've got to be, you've got to have multiple personalities to be a writer, I think so. But yeah, so it takes a day to write and then a day to put it all together and edit it and put it out on the channel and put all of the links and everything to it. So
I couldn't imagine. I struggled. One of my friends the other day on our channel said, "You need to get into what's it when you overlay? You know, when you're talking, you overlay like images and videos on when you're talking. It's called B.
Oh, B-roll.
B-roll. He said you need to get B-roll. Do some B-roll for your video." And I was like, "Hang a minute. This means I'm going to have to write a script and then I've got to record something that matches the B-roll." So I actually worked out how to do it because I only use Canva as my video editing tool because it's simple and for.
Yeah. And they've got loads of free B-roll video on there.
They've got loads of free B-roll. I want to do it like with my, and I was looking at it going, "Oh yeah, that should be easy." And then I'm going, "Oh, it's not that easy because you've got to, you know, it's." I
find it's best not to write the script to the B-roll, although that's probably what David Attenborough does. But I find it's best just to do the script and record all of that, because you can have a gap between what you say and the next bit and put some music in there to go with the B-roll, and that makes it more atmospheric. Yeah. But yeah, we'll have a proper chat about that. I don't know if we can do a show on it. It's not necessarily relevant to the channel, but I don't know. There's a lot of people like Sean from Expat in Matheron. He's got a drone as well, and he does drone footage. You know, and lots of people do that, where you fly the drone up and you look over the area. I'd love to do that over Computer.
That's what Father Christmas is bringing me.
Yay!
That's what I've asked for this year.
Have you? Fantastic.
Yeah, so let's hope,
cool.
I could do some suggestions for a good drone. So if anybody knows, because I'm looking at the list to send, obviously my list to Father Christmas, and I'm looking at Amazon and I have no clue, because they start at €30 and go up to like 500. And I'm like,
ask Sean. He started his YouTube channel, and it was about flying drones, so he knows the works.
He helped me with my gimbal. I bought one of those gimbal things. I haven't got it. I've got it in the car.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Don't really know what you're doing, do you?" I'm like, "No." So he did help me to get started on that, I have to say.
Yeah. Well, he's very helpful. Shout out to Sean.
Yeah.
That's Sean. Yes. Okay, then let's see what everybody's been chatting about while we've been having a break. Mr. Lower Largo, hello there. You weren't there at the beginning. I'm a widow and I live just outside Torrevieja on Orihuela Costa. Oh, that's another name of the Costa. There are smaller names for the Costas, aren't there, as well? Yeah. And has everything you could wish for. Excellent facilities, restaurants, supermarkets, a Lathania Boulevard, healthcare, both private and public. There you go. That's a good point. If you're searching for healthcare, some of the companies have doctors in some areas and some have doctors in other areas. So that's a good hint for you when you're looking for either an area or a healthcare provider. You need to match those up as part of your plan. There you go.
That's the Orihuela. We have a lot of people in Orihuela, and in fact, I managed to a miracle. Whoa! Yesterday, I managed to book appointments at their police station, because normally everybody has to go to Alicante. But a miracle. Well, I think we've got 7 in there for just the Christmas period, and it's big. It's huge. You know, I had a client of mine who said, "Can't you find me another police station, because that's a 40-minute drive from where I live?" And I was like, "Hang a minute." So I'm looking, you're looking at the Padron. This is why you do these discovery trips, because you think, "Hang a minute." And I'm like, Orihuela, we booked it in Orihuela. And so I went online. I was like, "Oh, it is 40 minutes." Sorry, that's the closest one, but it is actually 40 minutes from one end to the other. It's like, so it's you forget when you're locked away in an office all day. You forget the enormity of Spain and what it's like, because you're like, "I'll just nip down the road," but it's not just nipping down the road, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we got the moment that we hit land. Because we arrived right in the north, and drove all the way down and started to realise how big it was.
It's vast. You know, Spain. There's one thing you can say with doing these trips, and I've lived in many years ago up in the Tarragona province, and been fortunate to live here in Granada and the Malaga province as well. And it is just, there is everything for everybody here, and it is enormous. It's like we should really leave Spain, go do some investigations in a different country, but but then we're like, oh, actually, no, we haven't seen Rio Tinto, or we haven't seen this, we haven't seen that. It's just, I mean, inside of Andalusia, you could spend your whole life just looking at things here, couldn't you?
Yeah. And I got a message from Ant and Kez the other day. They say hello, by the way. And
You might be sworn.
yeah, and they were saying, oh yeah, you must come up to Bordeaux area and visitors up here. And I'm thinking, yeah, that'd be lovely. I've not been to France for a while. I'm thinking, but I've only visited this much of Spain so far, and one of the reasons for coming here was to visit all of it. And even in Andalusia, there are so many places I haven't been, and I've not been up to Murcia, to Almeria, to Alicante, all these places you're talking about. So I'm going to have to do that as well.
The Bordeaux Wine Museum though looks good. And that's slightly off topic though. That's when they've got an interactive modern wine museum there. I was like, one of the channels I follow came from that, and I was like,
that sounds like a holiday.
There you go. That can be our 2024 excursion shoot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we leave the country. Oh, I don't know why that's better. Yeah. Sorry, my phone went off there. I don't know what was going on. So let's have a look at any other comments. Kev says, have a look at Between the Lakes YouTube channel for some info on life in Torrevieja. Is that a Scottish couple? I think I've seen that one. And Bev says she's been researching Lathalia and the area. John McClue, morning from sunny Campbell. Viva España. And Emma B, good morning, Emma. Also, Chris will need help with TIE once I'm here. I'm happy to pay as I'm at my wits' end with getting the appointment. Yeah, that's a common thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. The appointments, I mean, they are constantly, because of the cyber attacks they have, they're constantly updating the way that they publish appointments and stuff. And I mean, we have various systems that get around it most of the time. No one's gone without an appointment. Even like this morning, I was up at 5:30, trying to book, and we managed to get Benidorm for somebody that we needed. And you've got to Murcia, for example, closed off for like 6 weeks. And then there's people panicking, and it's suddenly opened up, but they've opened up to the end of January now. So, it's like, well, hang there, how do they calculate this if you've got to register in 30 days thing? Doing it that way. So, yeah, the appointment systems, unfortunately, can be a nightmare. And now Almeria, on occasions, asks you for a digital certificate just to even enter the appointment system.
Oh.
So they're definitely updating it and making it as hard as possible.
Where are you, Emma? Which region? And here you go. Kev says DJI drones all day, Chris.
That's the same as my my gimbal, so I will research that. Thank you very much, Kev.
I have heard of them, and they can do some. There are some fairly cheap ones that you can start off with. I mean, you're only like 200, 300 euros or something like that. They're small and they still have decent quality. I think what you get once they go up in price is the quality of the video that you can get, and you don't get any shakes. You get a much more stable drone. So I don't know much. I'm just afraid of buying a really expensive one and then it just disappears off somewhere, or it gets caught in a tree and you can't get it down. I've seen people on some more expensive channels who've got the a drone caught up in a really, really high tree, so they've bought a really cheap drone and flown it up there to knock the other one out.
Oh, really?
And it worked as well.
Oh, we'll have to try it. I mean, if anybody's seen my videos, the video quality isn't that good anyway.
Yeah. Here we go. Right then. What was next? Where did you go next? Have we talked about Almeria yet? We've not.
Yeah, we haven't. So I did. So that was day one. That was Marbella to Matheron. Then it was Matheron to Alicante, Alicante to Guadalmar Segura, and then it was Guadalmar Segura round all those towns we just said, and I went to Cartagena. And the reason I went to Cartagena that evening was because we needed to find out in the morning, again, when they opened the blooming appointments because we couldn't get any,
Mm-hmm.
and B, to get all the content, because that's now one of our new stations we're going to be using. So we're covering that one now.
Mm-hmm.
We had our first appointments successfully this week, so I'll give that a little plug. So Cartagena, great place. Cartagena town, we don't generally get people actually living in the city itself. It's enormous, Cartagena, but definitely on the Mar Menor, which is very close to it. We have people living there, which is it's a great place. I didn't get a chance to visit it, unfortunately, because I was very busy. But the Mar Menor is somewhere where I definitely want to go back and have a look at, because when I was there, everybody said, "You got to go see it. You got to go see this area."
I always want to go do 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 whenever anybody says Mar Menor. That's just a sideline. Oh, by the way, there was a message I missed from Emma B, and she's pointed me back up to it. She said, "Hi guys from a 2-degree Bristol. Very cold. Chris, can you help me get an appointment at BLS London for an LV application, as I've been trying for over 2 weeks? Emails, phone and website has errors." And she's saying she's moving to the Alicante region further down.
Yeah, so actually, believe it or not, we've been able, and we can't book them for our clients, but what we have been able to do is guide them through the process. So yeah, drop us an email. Now they have Emma, what you might want to try is, because they have updated, there's been 2 or 3 weeks where the website has been an absolute nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And what you might find is that the most common problems are, and it's good you mentioned it, is that they've deregistered you for no reason. Right, so people go in, putting in their passwords, and they're going, "Well, this doesn't exist." You're like, "Hang a minute, I've registered." In that case, you have to register again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I did that. On some occasions, what we do is we go on an AnyDesk sharing system with people and their computers. So they'll download it, they'll give me access, I'll go on, we'll work through the process, get the appointment, and I jump off. There's one of the problems. Another problem is clear your cache. I think they call it. Now, I'm not an IT guy, but what happens is when you're going back in, it's bringing you to an old version of the page, which was the broken one. We've had people clear the cache using different browsers and stuff to be able to get around the old problems. Now they've fixed them on the website. And the other biggest problem as well is the size of the photo that you upload. So they only allow you a 200 KB photo upload limit, okay, when you come to the point of booking the appointment. And most phones nowadays, I mean, I'm taking stuff. I've got this old 3-year-old phone, which I'm updating now. So Kev, if you've got any opinions on phones, let me know, because I need a new one. And even that thing there, all my photos are coming in at like 5 meg every time I take a photo. Maximum thing, you know. So what's happening is people getting all the way to the end of their appointment booking journey, and it's saying computer says no on the photo. So you've got to use some shrinking software or a website like I Love Image, for example. You can use that. It's free. You stick it in there, tell them what size you want the photo, they'll download it.
Tiny JPG, that's another one.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Oh, brilliant. That's a good one. So this is
yeah, that's the one I use. Or I just go in, I actually put them on my screen as a JPEG, and I export it as a PDF file, and then I go back in, bring up the PDF file, and export it as a lower grade JPEG, and then it comes out as a smaller size, and you can choose what size it is and how many pixels it is. So you've got to go through a couple of processes to do it yourself. But sometimes I get, my thumbnail pictures, I have to make sure that they're really good quality, but they can't be over 2 meg because they just won't go into YouTube. They don't load up. So I'm doing this all the time, and creating and putting the text and everything on it. So yeah,
there's so much. I can't believe that there's another website, I Love PDF. Now we use this regularly, and I've got an article on it actually to encourage our clients to use it as well when they can. And what we found is, albeit that the government application systems allow for all sorts of all different types of files, the PDF is always best. You never get a fail on a PDF, right? That's it. So we just convert everything to PDF. Doesn't matter whether they send it to us, but we use I Love PDF, and they only get a certain amount of size. I can't believe they haven't sent me a letter yet to say you've got to subscribe. I don't pay anything for the actual website itself, and it's one of the best tools in for our job ever.
Yeah, absolutely. We have some comments here. Let's make sure we don't miss anybody out. Paula says, top man, that's Sean. And Janet Danton says, my plan is to spend my retirement exploring Spain. Good for you. John McClue says, ask Chris what his opinion of Campersol is. We did that about half an hour ago, I think. You might have to, once we finish the video, then go back in and have a look at watch the earlier part, I think. And Emma B says, oh yeah. Oh yes, that's the saying that she's in the Alicante region. And Anton cares. Late arrival and early exit, they've probably already gone now. Folk visiting, enjoying Chris's travel log. Soz must go, here they come. Ta-ta for now, Anton cares. There we go. We'll speak to you soon. I got an email from them. There's an ongoing email conversation going on. And they're sending us a bottle of Bordeaux, which is very, very nice. K.E. Sydney says the tracking system is now working.
Kev, yeah.
Which is an upside now. Is that another Kev?
Yeah, that's Kev's. I met Kev in the office here actually before their appointment.
There you go. And John McClue is giving his 10 cents on Campersol. We drove in at dusk and my wife immediately hated it. Went for a walk the next day and her opinion changed totally. Suits us. Isn't perfect for all, but where is? Exactly, it's very personal, finding your own place. And Paula Bramble says, cash, said like cash.
Oh,
I think that's in answer to...
I said the Spanish way, sorry.
Cache.
I have this thing, so I didn't learn computers till I was in Spain. So I've been here 24 years, so I was never working on the computer. So everything I do, which is 99% of my work now, so I have all my operating system and everything is in Spanish because that's how I've learned over the last 20 years. So when I refer to stuff, I do I say it in Spanish.
That's fair enough. I have found now that when I'm reading stuff in English, sometimes I pronounce it like Spanish because I'm so used to trying to read Spanish as well. And there's a very specific way of pronouncing Spanish. That's one of the things that makes it an easier language than English, is that every single letter is always pronounced exactly the same, except for there's occasional, the letter C. Depends on which letter follows it, but there's little ones like that. But it's not as crazy as English in that respect, when everything is pronounced completely differently depending on the meaning. So.
We were laughing the other day. I put it on one of my videos actually, because when I was first here with my friends and my big colleagues, we were all 21, young, now my work colleagues. When YouTube became a thing, and then Google became a thing, because this was 2000, and they used to say it phonetically, right? So they would say YouTube, and they'll say Google it, right? So obviously, when I'm having a conversation years ago with them, and I'm learning Spanish, when I referred to Google or YouTube, I would say Google or YouTube, because that's how they would say it. But now, of course, 20 years later, everybody's a lot more educated and they understand it's Google and YouTube. So when Spanish would refer to it now, not the phonetic way, most of them would refer to it as Google and YouTube. But the other day, I was having a conversation with somebody, and I said YouTube, and they're just laughing their heads off, going, you're English, why are you saying that? And I said, well, because years ago that's how you used to say it, and I copied you, and a lot of learning Spanish is like being a parrot. So now I've got to relearn that I've got to say it properly now.
Well, that's good to know, because I've been saying, my Spanish teacher said you've got to say YouTube, because they all say it's the same with pop groups. The Beatles is for Beatles.
Oh, Beatles.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they call them Escarabajos, don't they?
Do they?
They say the group. They say, "Have you ever heard, El Canción de Escarabajos?" And I'm like, what? And it's the same as the Beetle car.
Oh no!
I heard it referred to a coche Escarabajo, and I was like, "Hey," I was looking at it. Oh, you mean a beetle? Oh, you actually are calling it a beetle. It was.
You've just got to get used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, any more places? I don't think I'm not going to be able to get to a lot of the questions that I was going to ask you, but it's fascinating just talking about where you've been to and who you've met, really. So carry on. Have you got any more places that we've not said about
Yeah,
yet?
so one of the places was on my list, and I was like, I'm going to have to miss it off because I didn't have time. So I told you everything, the whole show would be hours long. One of the people I met with one of the doctors who does the medical certificates. We had a meal together in Torrevieja, I have to say. That was nice. So Julio Monge, a great guy, and he responded. I'll give him a shout out because he responded very well to that whole spate rejections that happened, with very legal documents to get all those overturned. I had never actually met him in person. So we had a nice meal, and I found out that we both own a parakeet, so that's nice. Ours, which adopted me. I didn't buy it. And from there, Cartagena. All I'd say about Cartagena is go and check out the tapas bars. Everything from pig ears to cows. I don't know what the right word to say about getting the channel banned on there, but honestly, you could get all sorts of stuff. It was quite interesting. And from there, I went to this town which has become famous, which is called Arboledas.
Ah, yes.
I'd never heard of Arboledas before we started on non-lucrative visas. I can always remember the first time I sat in the office here, and about the 7th Arboledas, sort of padron crosses your desk, and I'm like, where on earth is this place? Why is it so popular? And then you look on the map, and it's like it's actually in the middle of nowhere. The biggest town is Beda, which is next to it, and I was like, I've got to see this. Anyway, I've always made plans to go and have to see, because we've probably had 20-25 clients in Arboledas or surrounding areas. So you've got Arboledas, there's Alforquillas, Torjena, and there's people on the outskirts of Beda, which is a very good town, I'll have to say, for getting the padron. And so I sort of cut my trip, because I was going to come back on the Saturday morning, but I was cream crackered, to be honest, and I said I'm going to go home for Friday night. So I went from Cartagena to Arboledas directly, which is then a 4-hour drive home. And what an amazing place. I have to say, again, when you're driving to it, so you're in sort of, they've got a lovely new main road which brings you all the way down to the coast where Mojaca is. So one of the greatest things is if you decide to live inland and go to one of these towns, then you've got direct access to the coast if you want it. And driving up there, you don't really see a lot. It's quite deserty. It's a bit weird. And then when you come off at the Arboledas turnoff, which I've got in my video, you sort of drive around the corner, you hit this valley. It's green, so you go past this place called Alforquilla, and it's just gorgeous. You go to, it's lovely off to your left-hand side, and I was quite shocked. And then quite excited to go there. I drove to this little roundabout, and you cross this quite dramatic bridge. It's quite long, and as you're driving up to it, you can see the town open up in front of you. And I was like, yeah, I can see why people move here. You'd as you're driving over, you think, this is a cool place. So I went.
Do you find that there are a lot of these places kind of enclaves and kind of walled towns on their own with mostly Brits or English speaking, or are some more traditional looking?
This is traditional, very traditional looking. It's very, very similar to when you drive up to Compita, for example, but a lot flatter. But when you sort of go there, so I drove over. The idea was to go to the town hall immediately because I needed to find out the information about getting padrons and stuff, and also just we've got loads of photos, so when people go to get their padron, we can say go here and put an arrow and stuff like that. We find it, people who are not that comfortable with paperwork, even if you send somebody a photo of a place, at least they know what they're looking for. And it relaxes them a bit. So I was like, right, I'm going to get my head in, and when I can say right now, when I'm talking about going to these town halls, and say when you go in, you go to the left, or you go to the right, or whatever. So I parked near the town square, which was lovely, and immediately I noticed that there was a couple of charity shops, which you generally don't see that many in Spanish.
No.
You probably get the bigger ones, Kudeca and stuff, but these are independent charity shops. As I drove into the left-hand side of the square, so you got the town hall on the left, there's the charity shops, and they had English signs outside of them, which is a sign of an English or British or expat or immigrant community. So I did the town hall thing, and then I had to walk around with my gimbal because I thought, right, I'm going to get good used to this. Lovely town, you know, the houses are very clean streets. I say, you know, you could see it was amazing, sort of not dirty. It was nice, well kept. And I walked past a bar. I'm starving at this point, so I'm always hungry, we know. But I was really hungry at this point. I thought, right, okay, let's try some local tapas. So I went into the bar, and immediately there's a couple of guys there, and sadly I can't remember one of their names. One of them was Paul, and can't remember the other guy. So it's a shame, but I know they're going to watch your channel now because I recommended them. And they were like, "What are you recording?" And I was like, "Well, just recording the town, because I'm just coming to do a bit of a discovery trip." I was like, "Oh, have a seat, grab a beer." So a lunch later, I sat there with an hour talking to them. They just told me about the local. They're saying that there's a great local football team, walking football team in Torrena. Paul, I think it was, is captain of the bowls team. You know, the grass bowl said, "I would never, ever, ever, you'd never see me, million years, never doing grass bowls, forget it, not retiring, not getting into that. First game, booked, that's it." And he was like, there's a great community there. And in the bar, you could see again how the Spanish community are mixed with the foreign community. You know, and it was just, there was a quite harmonious sort of mix of people in this very quiet town in the middle of Almeria, and I really liked it. It reminded me of Loja because I've got affiliation with Loja, and I love the Granada area. But I can see why, especially with the prices of properties and rentals there, why people maybe who don't have a budget for the coast would want to go to somewhere like that, or people who are looking to integrate more into Spanish society but have that, shall we say, structure of foreigners around them.
Great stuff. We had a question from Michael Arthur, and Old Dare is answering it as we speak. If my wife and I retired in Mallorca as planned, do you know that if my British state pension will be accessible in Spain, and if so, will I be taxed by the British or Spanish government? So yes, your British pension is accessible in Spain, definitely. Will you be taxed by British or Spanish government? Depends a little bit on where you get your pension from. If it's a kind of a government pension, you could be taxed in the UK on that one. But yes, you'll be taxed by. There's a double tax treaty, so you won't be taxed twice on the same amount. But yeah, there will be some tax, but generally you'll find that if it's just a basic state pension that you've got, then you probably will be below the threshold. Does that sound right, Chris?
Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah, and I mean, I know when I'm speaking to Antonio and other accountants that sometimes there's a bit of a confusion. Again, we're not tax advisors, so, but there's a bit of confusion between people who think they're being taxed twice to pay tax extra in Spain. And what I've seen on many occasions from accountants is explaining, it was a double taxation treaty. So what under the treaty, depending on your structure, some of your tax will be retained in the UK. You then make your declaration here in Spain. But if there's a difference between what you've paid and what you'll be paying in Spain, you have to make up that difference. Yes, you may have a little bit to pay in Spain, albeit you've had tax retained in the UK, which isn't paying tax twice. All you're doing is paying tax within the Spanish structure. So what you would have been paying anyway, but some of it's been retained here and the rest has been paid to Spain. Yeah,
because the allowance is lower here and the rate of tax is higher. So you've got a little bit, Britain will tax that bit and Spain will tax that bit on the top because of their extra rate.
Yes, so if you earn more than your than the amount, then the little bit extra or whatever would be here. And it's always, in our opinion, especially when you're going for long-term residency here, larga duración, and I've seen it on some Facebook posts actually now, people who EU family members who are now being asked for further proof they've been here during the 5 years of their residency to get the larga duración residency, is to, even if you don't meet the minimum criteria, do your tax return anyway. Yeah, because then that's just further proof. We always talk about it, don't we, on the channel, about just keep all your bits of paper, even if it's digitally. But keeping within the system, I think is a good idea.
Absolutely, yes. And Lucia, the lawyer, actually said that on last week's show as well. So,
really?
Yeah, absolutely. do your tax return anyway, even if it's worth paying a hest or whatever it is to do your tax return once a year, so that you've got the paperwork in future, or at least you've made the effort.
That was the very first bit of advice which I got from a barman who became a very good friend of mine when I moved in the year 2000, and we used to frequent a bar called the Butler. I don't think Tim watches the channel, but and he said to me, "Get someone good to do your paperwork." And he meant his physical paperwork, and that stuck with me from day one.
Yeah, good. Very, very true. And Janet says, this is about pronunciation. My Welsh friend lived in Holland and has retired to Spain, so some of her pronunciations are hilarious. Yeah, Welsh is I have great difficulty pronouncing Welsh words. They're just not phonetic to an English-speaking person at all. But I can say Llanfai Pwllgyn Gilgo Gerachwindro Bwllantysilio Gogogoch, because I used to go to North Wales as a kid, so I had to learn that one.
What's that mean?
It's the longest place name in the world, I think. It's on the island of Anglesey, and there's a little railway station there where the railway station sign is 26 feet long. It's just got the whole word on there. They just normally call it Llanfai PG, just so that they can get the rest of the sentence in. And Paula says, I'm rubbish at languages, which is why we've chosen Campbell. Fair enough. I am and will continue to try learning Spanish, and hopefully once living there will get easier. In the meantime, Google Translate. There you go.
Hey, look, that's what we're saying. That's why we do these trips, because people find where they're comfortable. It's great.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Next time you're in the area, Paul Cook says, you should visit Huercal Oera. My mum lives in the village called Urcal near there, 17 years, and I have a farmhouse I'm renovating there, and it's where I will move to.
I've heard of, we've seen Huercal Oera pop up on patrons as well, and it's somewhere I'd love to visit as well. I will do. I'll make a note of that, Paul.
Great stuff. Kev says, yes, it's important to learn the language even in Campbell, in my humble opinion. We will have Spanish language only times at the villa to help each other learn. Yeah, Liz and I are talking about, once she's had a few more lessons, that we're going to have an hour or two speaking Spanish to each other every day, so that we force each other to do it, really. Because even here in Compton, where there are half and half English and Spanish speaking, it can be difficult, because you end up speaking to the English people, and the Spanish people end up speaking English to you anyway, because they want to practice their English as well. So there we go. You have to just put your mind in a different place, and force yourself to speak Spanish, even if they respond in English. Just keep on going. And Paula says, I totally agree. Like the idea of Spanish only time, so we'll definitely do that. Also, we'll sign up for regular lessons once we make it over there. Yeah, and find the right way of learning for you is very important. Some people learn better when there's loads of them there, and group sessions. Some people learn better one-to-one. Some people learn better online. Some people learn better with the little apps. But there you go. But you really do need to just go into a room of Spanish people, and when you're forced to do nothing else but speak Spanish, that's the way to do it.
Get Netflix on in Spanish. Now, Netflix have really, really pushed the boat out with Spanish series that are recorded an awful lot, and a lot around the Madrid area. So, and Lara's into one at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And
what's she watching?
It's called. I mean, after all, I don't watch Netflix. I'm just.
Oh, fair enough.
What I'll do is I'll WhatsApp her and ask her. And she's watching one at the moment, but I assume you would be able to get subtitles on that, and the Spanish is extremely clear. It's a very Madrileño Spanish. The actors are good, and just having that on in the background would be good, and it also gives you an insight into what the Spanish watch, because Netflix is huge here. I mean, actual purposely made series is directed at Spanish.
Absolutely, yeah. And the Snow Girl was one that they filmed down in Malaga. That was I watched all of that one, so that was handy. But and they did try and keep the more sort of posh spoken. It wasn't kind of really heavily Andalusian Spanish, which was good because that can be fast and all of the ends of the words missed off. I spent ages learning all of the conjugations of verbs, and it's the end of the word that defines what the verb is. So, and you come to Andalusia and they miss all the ends of the words off. So it's just really colloquial.
If you watch this one which I did watch, called La Brigada Costa del Sol, which is Drug Squad Costa del Sol, set in the 70s.
Oh, I started that one. Yeah, it's really good.
Fantastic. I mean, if you watch it in Spanish, unfortunately, the Spanish, they've really nailed down the Spanish to how it would have been back then in the 70s in Andalusia. So you have to, even I was sat there watching it. Yeah, I could never watch it dubbed, but I wouldn't, subtitles annoy me, so I wouldn't be able to. But I sat there and I'm going, I'm going to have to watch that again. Because they have like very, very colloquial, but they did it so well. I mean, it's an amazing series, it really is.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is good to see a series like that. They're all dressed in the 70s clothes and everything. It's just it's funny. It's like an old American cops show.
Yeah, I wore a leather jacket for a whole year after I watched that series.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It was cool.
Yeah.
And Kev the Argonaut says, I find Spanish easier when written than heard at the moment. Yeah, I'm still going through that. I'm pretty good at writing it and reading it. My wife is 3 years into Duolingo, so she is better, but the speed is different. Yeah, my wife Liz, she finds it easier to listen. She can understand people sometimes quicker than I can, but she can't understand what they mean, but she can hear what they've said. So she has to tell me, and then I translate it for her. So there you go. So Michael Arthur says, thanks, guys. It'll be a mixture of company pensions than our state pension. Yeah, so you're more likely to be taxed on that if you've got more than one pension, I think. I can't wait to find out what ours is going to be. I've got another few years yet before I'm into retirement. Kev says, try to have as few pensions as possible. It's kind of a bit too late in life to say that. Yeah. It's all right when you're in your 30s. Like, yeah, try not to have too many pensions. You've got time to organise it. But yeah, tax implications on multiple pensions. It is true, actually. You get taxed at a higher rate on your second pension, I think. That's what I heard. But
pagadores, they call it pagadores. So over here, if you have multiple pagadores and you pay, for some reason, you seem to pay a higher rate, you get multiple people that come in and give your income. I don't know.
Yeah, I've got a small private pension, very small, from working for what used to be East Midlands Electricity and then became Power Gen and then Western Power or something like that. I have no idea what it's called now. But yeah, that's a tiny pension. I'm going to be taxed on most of that, I should think. It's probably €40 a week or something like that, or a month. I don't know. There you go. Oh, another series. Paula says, who is Erin Carter? Great Spanish series. Also, Machos Alpha. There we go. That's another one.
I was going to send that to Lara.
So she's watched every episode in English, then again in Spanish. That's quite a good thing to do. Or watch, something that you're very familiar with as, an English language film, and put the Spanish subtitles on, and or get it dubbed. Yeah, get the dubbed version, so they're speaking in Spanish, but it's something that you're very familiar with anyway. So you know what it means, and just have it playing and see without the subtitles, and see if you can see if it gets through into your head.
Are intercambios still a thing? Here's a question to ask people who have moved over, because I wouldn't know. But years ago, like places like Loja inland, and when in the initial boom.
Mm-hmm.
So people have always moved over, but we know that like 2004 to 2008 was just a crazy time.
Mm-hmm.
Moving inland, and it wasn't just the coast, the inland sort of swelled with immigrants moving in, and a lot of town halls and a lot of associations and stuff like that set up things called intercambios. And intercambio was in a bar where 50% Spanish would go to 50% English, and you would spend half an hour speaking one language and half an hour speaking another.
Uh-huh.
Lara years ago set quite a few up in a hostel, which she was associated with. So I just wondered if it was a thing. I don't know if they still do that. I don't know if they do it in Computer or because if people
have tried. I know that I've heard on the Computer Social website. People have tried to do them, and and I don't think they last very long.
Right.
I think that and it's up to people on both the English and Spanish side to be enthusiastic about it and make sure because quite often you'll get mostly English people going and only a few Spanish, so that they might feel themselves swamped by, there you go. So, any more questions on there? Bev saying, Kev, can you do that with private and state? I think the answer is going to be yes on that. Oh no, Kev says just my private pensions state will remain separate. There we go. Michael Arthur says he's learning Spanish and practice when in Mallorca on holiday each year. The Spanish people really appreciate your effort at trying to speak the language. It breaks the ice and creates new friends. Very true. They are lovely.
And of course, in Mallorca, you've got Mallorquin, haven't you? So you speak there's a local dialect. But what we found in Menorca, when we did right early beginning of this year, was obviously Catalonia has its. We'll just leave that there. On at the moment.
That's very different.
Yeah, and they're own 50% won't speak to you in Spanish, and some with Castellano, and some will, and some identify Spanish. And anyway, so
is it the same in Valencia as well? Because Valencian
so much,
is very similar to Catalan.
Valenciano is very similar to Catalan, but I don't think there's so much. I don't know. It's not something like I said. I know the last time I visited Catalonia, I did find a lot of separatism. I'm going to be honest with you there. People, it was different to what it was when I lived there. Mm-hmm. Maybe I notice it more because I'm not living there anymore. But when we went to Menorca, we found that the people, the way they speak Castellano is really clear. It's a great sort of Castellano, if you want to learn. So if you go into somewhere like Mallorca or Menorca, because they have a really almost guttural sort of better than Madrileño, and they were so nice. We had a great time. We're going to, how'd you say this in Menorca? It's going, this is what you would say in Mallorca, but and they were. I found them really. We absolutely loved it, and there's a great Castellano there. And they weren't bothered about speaking the local dialect.
Brilliant, good to know. Castellano, by the way, is Spanish, normal Spanish, just in case anybody is worrying. I get it. You can get it mixed up with Catalan and Castellano, different. And Bev says, Spanish people laugh at me when I attempt to speak Spanish. That's the best way to get to know people, have them laugh at you and with you.
I got laughed at, Bev, many times when I was 21, walking into the butcher's asking for the wrong thing. So keep at it, don't worry.
Actually, that's a good point, Chris. Well, you said butchers. Tell me, you don't have to tell me right now, but we're looking for a good butcher for Christmas meat because ours round here has disappeared. So I'll speak to you about that after.
Yeah.
My headphones on one side have died on me, so I think we've been on air for just about long enough. Is there anywhere else you wanted to talk about before we wrap up?
No, that's it. For now, I can give my road trip videos a plug because they're getting plenty of traction, which I didn't think they were. The actual road trip video. So I did when I was away. I recorded around 25 videos of the town halls and stuff, which is why I went. But then on the way, I was going, I might just do some road trip videos and talk rubbish while I'm in the car. And they seem to be very popular. So I did them, and I'm slowly publishing the rest of the videos, which will go into the new year as well as when I can sort of do it. I thought I'd give that a plug.
Excellent. Bridget says, hello, Bridget. Not seen your name there before. She says, I started learning Spanish online during lockdown y ahora hablo español muy bien. Good to know. And Bev says, I understood that, Bridget. Oh, look, my headphones have gone off, so I'm just going to go on to this one. Otherwise, I'll get echo. It's just gone blah, 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 on me. There we go. Back to the old headphones. I used to wear these for all the shows. And here we go. External headphones. Are we there? Speak to me, Chris.
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
I can hear. Good.
I'm very happy. I had no technical disasters today. The light's been good. The microphone's working. Brilliant.
That is good to know. These just don't last longer than about an hour and a half. Although actually, I put them in half an hour before the show just to check everything's working. So that's not too bad. 2.5 hours. They were. I don't think they were brand new when I bought them, so they were recycled ones. So they're not going to last much longer than that anyway. Anyway, that's enough technical. Okay, Sydney says thanks again, guys. Very informative as usual. Oh, and Kev speaking in Spanish as well. Yo hablo español un poco, pero es fluid. Is my current go-to phrase. Fluid. I see. Is that fluent? Is that the same as fluent? Yeah. Great stuff. Brilliant. So if anybody else has any questions or comments, then put them in the comments below, and you can carry on the chat there once we go offline. And anything else that I need to say, yeah, don't forget Raffle. Go in for the raffle. Get your entries now. Lots of different places you can find the link. That's just one of them up there in the corner. You can find it in the live chat in the comments below. It will be in the comments below by the time I finish this video, and also in somewhere else as well. Loads of places. Don't forget to click on the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and click on the bell as well, so you'll get notifications, and you'll know what's coming up each week on the live shows and the midweek videos. The midweek videos have been going really well recently because of the subject matter. It's been all about the 90-day rule, and that's caused lots and lots of people to comment. And the first video that I did 3 weeks ago has got over 21,000 watches, and then the second one's well over 19,000 watches now. And the one this week, not quite as popular because it was about what people had said in the comments about the first two, but still it's gone over 2,000 watches, which is better than normal for this channel. So that's good. It's pushing the figures up, and the more that people comment and the more that people respond to it and click on the like button or the dislike button, then the more people will get to see it, and that is good. It's a win-win-win. Here we go. I've got to put this up. It's a win-win-win with a cherry on top. There you go. Good for us all. So in a moment, I'll tell you who we have on for next week's show. But for now, let's say a huge thank you and a big virtual hug and kiss to Chris for being so helpful and lovely as usual. And I'll see you again in 2 weeks.
I'll see you on Tuesday, won't I?
I'll see you on Tuesday. Yes, we've got a Business First, that networking group that we were talking about, and you'll meet a few of those on the Christmas show. So 2 weeks in a row we've got that show, and then the week after that is the Christmas show. So you'll be on 2 shows in a row. That's the final live show of the year on YouTooSpain. So that's all very exciting. We'll all be dressed up for that, and I hope you'll all be dressed up at home as well. And what should we do in 2 weeks then? That's the penultimate show.
Oh, we have to have a think about that. So we've done the road trip. We'll have to have a think about how to wrap up the year, really. I mean, really, 2024, we've got to talk about what's happening. We could do timing. We could. We'll have to have a think of something that's very interesting.
Yeah, that's what normally happens on the telly, is people do this year. What happened this year?
Yeah.
Let's do a roundup. So maybe we could just do that.
Yeah, we could do a roundup of what's. I mean, this year's been crazy with what's been happening. I'm still to get myself to Manchester yet to go to the BLS office, see what's happening there. But yeah, maybe we could do a roundup and summary and
summary updates. There we go. I'll write all that down.
We get a lot of comments, so it'd be nice that people who are jumping on who have moved over, maybe just giving us their updates as well. Like so. John McClue, I know, is online, and people we've been on the journey with. Like we're doing this show, it's great because I've done the discovery trip. I'm learning so much from what people are telling me. I've got emails and the comments here, so it'd be good if we do a sort of a summary. I can offer our opinion on what's happened this year, what we expect for next year, and then obviously if we can get people commenting on the good, the bad, the ugly of what's happened to them as they've moved over, it'd be great.
Brilliant. Yes. That sounds like a fantastic show.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Well, so thank you everybody on the live chat. Thank you everybody who's been watching the video back afterwards. You're all very welcome. So let's give Chris a wave goodbye before I tell you what's on next week's show. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye. So, what is happening on next week's show? I've got to look at the notes, actually. I don't think we've got anybody confirmed for next week yet, thinking back on it. So that's something I've got to sort out over the next couple of days. So it's going to be a surprise. It's going to be slightly a surprise for me, but a huge surprise for you. So what we will do is have an announcement on the Facebook group and the Facebook page. If you didn't know, we do have two of those. One is the private Facebook group. It's called YouTooSpain Community. Yes, and that's a more guarded private group. And then the other one is a completely open public Facebook page. They're both called YouTooSpain with the logo. You can ask any questions you want in advance on our Facebook page and group over the next few days. And of course, you can subscribe to this YouTube channel, ask questions under the video. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTooSpain.com because the newsletter is coming out on the 1st of December. And thank you for buying me a coffee and buying raffle tickets, hitting the like button, blah, 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 blah. I'll see you on the next latest helpful video on Wednesday evening, and then again live on the Saturday morning show at our regular time of 9 o'clock if you're in the UK or Ireland or the Canary Islands, or 10 o'clock if you're in Spain or Central Europe, 4 o'clock in the morning if you're in New York. That's all for this week. Somebody pass around the tour along the coast cookies. That's what we'll call them this week. Peace and love to you all. Here we go. I never flash up the peace and love on the screen. There it is. And even peas and fluff. Buy the t-shirt. There we go. Get ready, everybody, because we're going to say this in a minute. But one final message from all of us here at YouTooSpain. Here we go. Bye, lads. Bye. Goodbye. Toodaloo. Peace and love. Peas and fluff. Oi, oi. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. One more cosmic dance? All right, then. Look, Mum, I'm dancing. Oh, I'm all a quiver. Let's dance.